Hey everyone, it's Mike Hambright with Flipnerd.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Expert Interview Show, where I interview leaders and entrepreneurs from across the real estate investing industry. We've got a great show today here with Sterling White, who has a really unique approach. So we're going to dive into that in a second. So if you're a member of Flipnerd.com, hey, welcome back. We're excited to have you. And if you're new, thanks for joining us. Please go check out Flipnerd.com. You can actually set up a free account in about 15 or 20 seconds. It's pretty fast now. We've got it down to a science. I want to tell you too, by the way, I haven't really talked a whole lot about it on this show, is we actually launched a second show about 4 months back called REI Classroom. And we are publishing shows every single day, literally. For 4 months in, we have almost 200 episodes. They're short, kind of 5-minute lessons. It's called REI Classroom, and you can get there at flipnerd.com/classroom, or you can search for REI Classroom in iTunes or whatever your favorite podcast platform is. Again, this is episode number 297. We're coming up on the big 300 here, and we're with Sterling White today. Sterling is a real estate investor in Indianapolis. He's the co-founder of Holdfolio, which is a really unique kind of buy and hold opportunity and provider. And I'm excited to learn a little bit more about that today, because when I saw it, I was like, that's a fascinating model. I haven't seen that before, and I think you guys will enjoy it today. So one last reminder is that we now break the show into two parts. Kind of part one, we're going to talk to Sterling and get to know him a little bit. We're going to talk about kind of some of the obstacles that he overcame and why he chose the business model that he has, and just how you can kind of get started. And we're big on taking action. In fact, part two of the show is the taking action segment, where we're going to dive into building your pipeline of properties and some stuff about direct marketing and getting lots of offers in there, a lot of action, so that you can fill up your pipeline. And Sterling's going to share a whole bunch of great advice with us. So let's get this thing started. Sterling, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. This is Sterling from Holdfolio. Thank you so much for attending the show.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. I love your energy. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I find myself, because I've done almost 300 episodes, I need to kind of get pumped up and get some of that energy.
Oh yeah,
myself.
get going, passion.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, Sterling, very happy you're here. I know we've been actually talking back and forth for a couple months about getting you on the show, and I'm excited that it's finally here. And when I saw your site, it was a really fascinating model. Let's kind of get into that after you tell us a little bit more about who you are and kind of how you got started.
Yeah. So I grew up here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Single mother, twin brother, who I do not think we look alike, but everyone says it. So, and when I first originally got into the entrepreneurship type of realm was back in my early days in elementary, selling Kool-Aid to all the kids in school. And, I really started to get the business side of things and started getting kids underneath me to sell the Kool-Aid candy. And then they'd come back to me at the end of the day. Here you go, Sterling. And then I ended up getting...
You created your own little MLM on the playground? Is that what you did?
Yes. And, just kind of fast forwarding from that and, going to my college days, about 2009 was when I got started in the construction side of the real estate field and really loved it. But I'm not a swing the hammer type of person, getting my hands dirty. I like them being a little clean. There's some calluses on there.
I don't do that either. I will say last night I actually touched a can of WD-40 because I needed to lubricate something. But yeah, I don't.
No.
Whenever I need to use a hammer or something like that, it usually takes me about 20 minutes to find one. So I'm not, I get it.
I'm not even too familiar with how to use a screwdriver sometimes. My partner, Jacob, has to
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
In about 2012, 2013 is when I met my mentor, who was the commercial developer here in Indianapolis. And he was the developer also for apartment buildings. And that's who I actually partnered on with my first buy and hold single family home. And from the experience of working with him, I went to a couple seminars in about 2014, the summer, probably a little bit earlier than that was when I met my partner, Jacob, who is phenomenal. He's got spreadsheets all over the place. It's pretty remarkable. And that's when we were looking for a way to streamline the turnkey process, because with the operations he was in, was buying and selling hundreds of these turnkey properties, and I was also a little bit incorporated with that too. And we saw the new crowdfunding legislation and really wanted to streamline the process and make it as completely hands-off for the investor. So that's where Holdfolio came about.
Yeah, and your model, let's talk about your model for a little bit because it's really fascinating. A lot of people that listen to the show, they know that we've talked to a number of people that are in the turnkey space. And in fact, we recently just launched a turnkey model as well, where we connect people. It's called passiverental.com. But I will say that your model is very unique. Usually turnkey operators might get a property ready. They ultimately sell it to somebody, and then they generally help kind of manage that property and do all that. But you guys are actually maintaining owner. You kind of prepare a portfolio of them, and then you sell shares in that portfolio, and you maintain an equity interest. So you got a vested interest in kind of the performance of that property, right? Which is, I'm not saying that nobody else is doing that, but I haven't heard of it before.
If our investors aren't making money, then we aren't making money.
Right.
So that's what we really wanted to gear the model towards.
Yeah. The fascinating thing is, I think, and I'm not, we have lots of, I have lots of friends that are turnkey operators. I'm not knocking them at all because their business model, I mean, generally when you're a real estate investor, it's hard to keep everything. You have to pay the bills. You have to generate revenue to pay for your marketing and your overhead and all those things. So there's sometimes people ask the question of, well, if it's such a good deal, why don't you keep them all? Well, you can't keep them all because you have to, like I said, you've got expenses and employees to cover. And so for a lot of real estate investors, they might buy 2, 3, 4, 5 properties and try to keep one out of there, but you've got to do that to kind of keep the machine going. It sounds like you guys have found kind of the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. It's a very scalable model.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk a little bit about how that works. Maybe just kind of share, give an example. I think you said you put 10 properties in a portfolio, and then you effectively sell kind of shares in that package. Is that right?
Yeah, virtually. So we go out with our own personal cash, buy these 10 single-family homes. We renovate them and lease them to where they're fully occupied and then producing income. Then that's when we open the doors for outside investors to invest in that portfolio.
Yeah, and it's kind of bringing together, I mean, the crowdfunding area. So we have a number of friends that have been on the show before too that are in the crowdfunding space. So they're typically financing deals where they say, hey, you can buy chunks of, $5,000 or more to help fund this property, a deal that somebody's working on. But usually, the way that it works is once that property is sold off, they get their money back and they have to go find something else to invest in.
It's a debt type of deal structure.
Say that again.
Is it like a debt type of structure?
Yeah, they're more debt, right. Right. Okay. And so ultimately that structure, they have first lien deed of trust on it, so they're secure. But, a lot of people that have money to invest, they don't really want it back because then they have the trouble of having to go reinvest it again, right, or find another thing to put it in. So awesome. Well, it's a really fascinating model. And again, it's Holdfolio. So if anybody is interested, we'll add a link down below the show here, but check out Holdfolio. Holdfolio.com. That's actually it's a really cool name too. So, well, hey, let's jump into kind of part one of the show here. I'm talking a little bit more about, how you guys determined to kind of get into this model and, some of the obstacles that you overcame.
Yeah, so part of the biggest obstacle that we have to overcome is just simply the legalities of the company. So we pay a hefty fee to our lawyer just to make sure our I's and T's are crossed because we're dealing with security. So this is a serious matter in those dealings. And I'd say I wouldn't say the marketing side of things. That's also been official, but
it's all hard, right? None of the stuff. Yeah. People look at real estate investors that are doing stuff and they think, oh, yeah, cool idea. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. It's like, but nothing is easy. But it doesn't mean it's not worthwhile to make it work. Yeah. So you had some legal challenges to a lot of the crowdfunding stuff is obviously kind of hot off the presses and new and still evolving. Mm-hmm. And talk maybe a little bit about the market. You started to talk about marketing. How you you kind of almost created a new category. How do you create awareness for what you're doing?
Yeah, so we've taken on a lot of the social media. So we really push out quite a bit of content in the
Yeah.
aspect of really. So when people Google Holdfolio, what's the first thing that they see? So that's really where we want to create that presence.
Right, but how
And
do you get people don't know the word? I think because we've dealt with this a little bit recently with just kind of saying turnkey. I think there are people that know I would like to own rental properties, but they don't know the term turnkey. I mean, we use it interchangeably because we're in real estate and we kind of get it. But so it's more of how do you convince people that you can buy a share of a package of rental properties, right?
oh yes, in
Yeah.
the are you meaning the type of diversification or?
Yeah, just that exists. I think most people assume, well, if I want to buy rental properties, I have to go do it myself, right? They just assume, well, I need to call a realtor or somebody that's going to find a property, and then I need to put together the property management. They typically assume they have to do all these pieces together, and you kind of brought it all in one place. So talk a little bit about how you kind of train the market or create awareness that what you offer even exists.
Yeah, so even with our previous investors that we have, it's virtually just completely hands off. So what we send our quarterly disbursements at the end of each quarter. And at the end of each year, we send a K-1 writing off depreciation. So there's no them having to go back and forth with us, the managers. We're the decision makers when it comes to our investment model.
Okay. Okay. And so, Stern, with your partner Jacob, you mentioned that he had been doing quite a bit of turnkey stuff before. Is that? I guess that's kind of how you decided to move forward in turnkey. I mean, do you guys do much like fix and flip or wholesaling or anything at all, or is it all pretty much keeping as
I'd
part
say
of?
about at this point it's 90% hold folio, and
Yeah.
we do 10% fix and flips, but we're more of the long-term play and not as speculative.
Right.
So we like to buy a property, boom, there's cash flow.
Yeah, yeah. I want to talk about how because a lot of people, again, I'm trying to shift the show to talk more about taking action and stuff, and we're going to jump into the kind of the real taking action segment here.
Oh yeah,
But
taking action.
I know we'll jump in there in just a few minutes. But I know a lot of people get stuck. They're like, your model is interesting, but a lot of people couldn't just go start there, right? You were working for a builder before, a developer, and people like start to like they get distracted because there's like, well, I could develop new houses, I could get into multifamily, I could do this, and a lot of people just kind of get stuck and can't move forward. And I know you talked about having a mentor too, which I coach and mentor people, so I really understand the value there, and I have coaches and mentors as well. But just talk about how people that might be listening to this that say, wow, that sounds like a really cool model, but they have yet to get started or have yet to kind of move out of what I'll kind of call their infancy as a real estate investor. Just talk about how, you would advise people to kind of not get stuck and be able to move forward.
Yeah, so what I would highly recommend for people is I read a lot and no news, no news. Please do not read the news and listen to all the noise that's out there in the marketplace because
Yeah.
people will tell you not to do this, not to do that. Just pick a goal and 10X it. I'm a huge Grant fan, by the way.
Yeah, Grant
10X
Cardone.
goals and pick a really high goal, put your blinders on, and as I had mentioned to you, once you pick that goal, the universe will conspire to you as long as you put your head down and just grind day in and day out for it.
Yeah. And how would you recommend any kind of advice to people that, because it's easy to, that's what you just said is easier said than done,
Yeah.
right? There's so many distractions and so many things that can get your attention. So many things that allow people to quit or give up. They just lose hope or whatever.
Yeah, so one thing that really was a great turning point in my life was in my early college days when I was on the construction side of things and really switching things in my life was I absolutely got rid of all of my friends. Didn't talk to anyone, threw my cell phone away, and just went to the library every day. That's all I did, and
Yeah.
just really fed my mind with all these dead guys input. And that's really what ultimately gave me the mindset in which I really would like your readers to learn that it's really possible to really do anything in life as long as you put your mind to it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. And that's one thing that I would recommend for people is just to read books, find someone who is already doing what you're doing, maybe even work for that person for free, and you'll learn so much. You'll gain so much knowledge versus going to try and get an education at a collegiate level.
Yeah, and that it's not just the education; it's being around somebody that's actually doing this. A big problem that a lot of people have is just that initial confidence, and I think it really helps kind of get you over that hump. I think one of the things that I don't know if I've ever explicitly said it before on the show, but I hope that people gather from having almost 300 episodes now is that there's nobody that I've had on the show. I've had some really awesome people. Sterling's a great guy. We've had a lot of great people on the show, but none of them are superheroes. These are all like regular people that at one point in their life just figured this out. I mean, I can't even think of anybody that I've had on the show that was born, that was just a real estate investor from day one. Their parents did it. They did it. They just kind of walked right into it. Usually it's something that they had a passion for or developed a passion for and just figured it out ultimately. And so anybody that's hearing this right now can do the same thing. No doubt about it.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Okay, everyone, it's time for the taking action portion of the show. Sterling is about to share some great information with us on building your pipeline, direct marketing, and how to kind of just always fill your pipeline, which is really critical in this business. So if you're hearing or watching at this point in the video, you're watching our basic version. It could be on flipnerd.com. It could be on a podcast or YouTube or anywhere else. We'd love for you to join us for the rest of the show, but only our pro and elite level members have access. As a pro and elite level member, you get access to literally almost 300 episodes now of interviews with experts, hundreds of hours of other training and shows, and just a whole bunch of great information. You get access, real-time access to currently over 1,300 off-market properties that are listed on flipnerd.com, and a whole bunch of other great information. So to get that, just go over to flipnerd.com/show297. This is episode number 297. So visit flipnerd.com/show297 and upgrade your account, and you'll see the rest. We'll see you on the backside. Are you a member of flipnerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit flipnerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry. So get on over to flipnerd.com.